what I feel now on AI, that everything is really quick, I would say. Yeah, so it's kind of big black box.
Good afternoon. This is ARCHIP podcast. My name is Regina Loukotova and I'm the head of the School of Architecture here in Prague. We are interviewing our teachers. Today it's Lukáš Kurilla. Welcome, Lukáš.
Thanks.
Nice to have you here. And let's start from the beginning. Why did you decide to study architecture? What was the driving motor behind that?
Like a child, I was not sure to study architecture. I was thinking many other disciplines, but I was really creative. So this is why my parents also choose to not go to gymnasium, but go to high school, which was like more specified, and it was like the design of the furniture and interior design school, and we had also architects there which teach us like design subjects. And at the end of the school, I passed the exams for design and for architecture because I like design also a lot. And architects told me, my teachers told me, if you are going to architecture, you can also do the design, but not the opposite. I don't know if it's true. I feel maybe not. But I choose it that way, so this is why I study architecture.
So how old were you when you kind of realized that maybe this is my profession, my future profession? Were you like 10 or 16?
I think even when I was on a high school or when I was on university, I was just trying to understand if I really want to do architecture. Mm-hmm. And I think, and I was also challenged a lot with the scale, because interior is a different scale, mm-hmm. Furniture is a totally different scale. And somehow I always like smaller scales than the bigger ones, but during the high school or during the university, I realized that I found something nice also in the bigger scales, so even like urban designs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was really like during my study, I really found more interested about architecture and urban planning. Yeah.
So we still believe that architecture is actually covering all the scales, that with mm-hmm. Education in architecture you can really design small products, let's say like industrial design, and through the buildings you can go to bigger scales, and based on our experience from this semester and last semester we know that we can go even further. We can design states or regions mm-hmm. and have visions for them.
Exactly. So the thing, why the architecture and why I'm happy with that I choose that, I have better overview of problems, let's say. So I can see more connection between different scales and so on. So mm-hmm. this is maybe hard to get if you're studying only design.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And my second question would be, when did you study architecture? So then we can also, or our listeners and viewers can guess your age, and also where you studied architecture, and whether you only studied one place or you had a chance to visit also other universities abroad, or a bit more about that.
Yeah, I start in the millennium, like in 2001 I started at the Faculty of Architecture in Slovakia, in Bratislava. And then after my bachelor degree, I moved to Prague. Mm-hmm. And during my PhD later in Prague, I was also at ETH Zurich, where I was studying structural design, mm-hmm. which is, I think, missing also in here a little bit. That it's that we like focus more on optimization methods, understanding how force flows are working, how to design structure in the way where you can limit some mass in the structure and this kind of stuff.
Interesting. Was it at the Faculty of Architecture there? Yeah. And how was it to be there? ETH is always ranked as the best school of architecture, not only architecture, indeed.
It was great. I was really happy to be there. I was there for my PhD, but I also follow the master's lectures, so it was like really nice.
Very nice. So now you are transferring that knowledge to our school. That's nice. I'm also asking my teachers or our teachers, how do you combine your professional life with your work for academia? So can you tell us a little bit about what you do for in the professional field? I don't say that academia is not a professional field, but what you do apart from teaching. I know you are not teaching not only here but also at CTU. But if we can
exactly like you said, like I'm also teaching in CTU, and I'm also have a PhD students there. So I'm more like I'm focused more about also research. So that's my prophecy. So I'm more academic, let's say, and I'm doing that because I think there are a lot of like technological improvements now in these days happening, especially also in the architecture, which changed the way how we are designing things, and AI and so on. And I was always, I really like digital technologies, and also on my diploma project I create a computational bridge for pedestrians, which was like in these days no one like know how to code something and so on. So I learned that like by myself. To code it in C#, and later I evolved that many things. Also for my PhD, I did the analytical tool for which should help architects to get feedback, analytical like structural analysis feedback from the conceptual phase directly. So they are able to understand the form and forces. So if they will change the geometry, they will show different forces and so on. Mm-hmm. So I feel I think I'm kind of tool maker. Like that's kind of my professional also. And also in 3 years we also create the startup with a colleague of mine, which are focusing more on artificial intelligence. And we developed the tool for creating layouts, interactive layouts for test fit, like especially for offices. If you need to fit or test fits of your requirements of size of your companies into specific or different layouts, different floor plans. So
that's the way, or these projects you actually offering or working with clients, and with the tool of AI you are trying to figure out how ideally the office should function, actually, not only architecturally but also like socially. And
the goal of our startup, it's more or less to create a marketplace where you can use it like a user. Mm-hmm. But we are also cooperating with other companies like architects, which where our tool can help them to simplify or to make more efficient way of doing like test fits.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Interesting, because also nowadays after the COVID period we have more people who are working from home. Mm-hmm. They are on their home offices, so actually the requirements for the, let's say, stone offices are very different from 3 years ago, 5 years ago.
Like shareability of the offices like grows a lot. Like there's like 50 to 50% like shareability now.
Nice. Actually, we in our previous podcast with Shimon Prokop, we talked about your studio. We also mentioned something about your course called before Applied Mathematics. Now we'll have a different name, which I promised to Shimon to have Mathematic Intuition, or how you want to rename that.
Mathematical thinking.
Or mathematical thinking. Also, we spoke about your studio, what you do now with first year students, about Albertov and so on. Can you just share with us what challenges you on teaching? Why you actually teach, and why?
Maybe if you like mentioned the Shimon, so it's also, and we was talking about like practice. So also with the Shimon we have consultation of farm, where we are like helping the architects to like solve the problems which they cannot solve like normal.
He mentioned that, we discussed that.
So it was also like we also help Preciosa to develop the computational or parametric design stuff, so they are more efficient right now. And also, like Stephen Hall, we help with the analysis, and especially for structural engineering, we simplify the work, how they can interactively change the shape at itself and see the results, see the difference. My PhD was also involved there.
May I jump into this? When you mentioned Stephen Hall, just this American architect, let's say world known. And he's now working on Ostrava, on the new Philharmonic there. So was the project?
That was our project, yeah,
really?
which was.
And how was it to work with Stephen Hall, with this architecture star?
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like we was working more or less on on the finalizing of documentation of the project, and mostly we were helping structural engineers to do their job. And also we did the wind tunnel analysis and we help them to calculate the forces on the facade. And
interesting, but his team, is it mostly the Czech professionals involved, or is it combination with American or international professionals?
We had the call at evening or at night, with
to harmonize
exactly.
time zones.
But they have Martin, who was working also the Czech team for that architecture.
Nice. So Stephen Hall, you mentioned Preciosa as well. Are there other clients you are working for, or somebody you would like to mention here, or some interesting project?
Maybe that was the quick overview of those. We were starting to cooperating also with Perspective, DAM Architects. We work with some facade system, Legenar Architects, a few of those.
Super. Interesting. So I'm also happy that your experience, and that's why mostly professionals are working also in academia, or that's what I see as an advantage, is that this transfer of knowledge. That actually students, they have a kind of shortcut to you as somebody who is bringing the knowledge from the profession directly to its teaching. If I may go back a little bit to AI, I mean that's the topic. It looks like topic of today. What is would you just share with us your feelings? You love computers, you love computational design. Indeed, your view is going to be a bit different from, let's say, a classical architect. But how will we manage to cope with that? What are your feelings about this?
Yeah. I feel old somehow. Those things are really evolving really quickly, and it's funny that our students sometimes we are teaching them to think computational thinking, really think in the computational way, which also in STEM in US you can see those tendencies, what I feel now on AI, that everything is really quick, I would say. So it's kind of big black box. I used to use a lot genetic algorithms, which are almost the black box, but you can set up many things there and trying to understand what the algorithm is doing and see inputs and outputs, kind of the logic behind it. And now AI, it's much quicker. It's really useful, I would say. I'm also using ChatGPT many times for creating papers, discussing the papers, not generating it. So I think it's really important to work with that. But my feeling is also that you should learn also the lower language, lower level of knowledge, or how to communicate with the computer. Maybe I'm old, maybe that's the old school stuff, this is what I feel, but many students are focusing more on prompt design. Now they are developing big prompts to design something, but I feel that if you will do that in old way fashion, let's say in computational way, you will have more control and so on. And I'm also writing my thesis now, habilitation ones, and I'm also working about idea where AI can be useful, where computational can be useful. And I found it, that's my theory now, that AI, it's really useful in the concepts, in creating more like overview of something, like creating or mapping some more design spaces. Otherwise, later you have to focus on something and try to like tune the parameters, tune the way the design properties to your needs, kind of stuff. So if you will think about like the design thinking, there is a flare and focus, like they are like double diamond diagram, let's say, and they are talking about like you're going flare, so you're going broad, you are going with many ideas, many concepts, and then you should focus. So I think our AI has a problem with the focusing. So this is where the computational thinking and this parametric design or generative design works much better.
Or if I replace your computation thinking with human thinking, because when I like apply to myself, even older, then you are, I can imagine like using AI for, let's say, analysis or trying to, gather the data to be in picture somehow about certain project, certain brief. But then in creating concepts, I would use my brain probably. And then further on, I would probably use parametric design or classical tools. But you are right that actually AI can enter this creative process in different stages. But you would be more at the beginning and then not really.
Even with the concepts, like if you have some concepts, you can use, let's say, ChatGPT or this kind of tools, which, or let's say, just generate the pictures, and then you can see like difference and make the decision that you want to go in different way. On the conferences, there are a lot of researchers focused on comparing, let's say, Instagram or like the other media which will show you like many pictures which can be like which can inspire you like in the conceptual phase, comparing with the generated pictures. But you can find also many generated pictures already in Instagram and the other media. Yes, so that's the thing, that this is really good to show you like the path. But then you have to like really explore that path around, like let's say direction and
indeed, because when you mention the generated pictures, you already when you work with AI, you already see which picture was, especially in your field, like in architecture. I don't know if I would have the same feeling in fashion, probably not, or other fields. But in architecture, you already can see that these pictures are being repeated. But anyway, I mean, it's important that our students are informed about that.
We did it also with the students. We did design thinking. We try to evolve the design in the groups, so they was like able to really react on the client's needs and so on. And also we used also AI for that, and we discussed the problems and so on. So I really like that the students like it, and they enjoy this kind of like, let's say, playful way how to teach, and I think it's really useful, and we get also like really nice feedback from them.
Good, and also we saw this AI phenomenon at theoretical classes, because when working with text, with books, with articles, it's difficult. Some students admit, yes, I use it, some not. So we say, okay, let's admit it, we use it, but use it in creative way, and not like, no, you cannot use it, or...
What I found dangerous, let's say, it's that some students I saw, they are using, let's say, ChatGPT. They are making first prompt and then they're just using copy and paste the text directly. So, and I was asking, like, are you sure that it's like the way you want to use it? Like, yeah. So this is, I think this is why it's really important to use those methods, those techniques, and show the difference. Show the difference if you are making more iterations. Show the difference if you are really dealing with the problem and trying to adjust it in your way, or maybe like rewrite some parts of it.
So my other question would be, if we zoom out from academia, because I think that's the field where students should be aware of that, and it's kind of developing probably faster than we think, or faster than we are able to create some study programs for that. But if you, based on your experience in practice, how people in practice are how they cope with the phenomenon of AI. What is your experience with those firms, studios you mentioned?
Yeah, I think many studios want what is maybe missing in the architecture field. It's research and development, like directly. Mm-hmm. That if someone's like changing the way how they are designing all that stuff. But I found that many people see the potential in the parametric design, and they saw also the potential from AI, like generating some picture and so on. But really teach something which is really useful for architects, it's harder. But you can see that also Autodesk and big companies are really like buying small startups companies which are developing the tools for, let's say, like volumetric study, where they are using artificial intelligence in the background. So I think it's not maybe time to develop something in-house, but maybe this research and development part of architectural studios can like quickly adapt or use these technologies to be more efficient. Let's say at the end, because I think that's the thing. That, like, if you want to like win the competitions with the others, you should be like quicker and have a better solutions. Yeah. And what we also teaching the students, it's to understand the, let's say, properties behind it. Like it's like evidence-based design, so you should define the evidences why something is better, and so on. So it's not only something which you can describe, but something which you can also measure.
When you mention research and design in the professional studios in the Czech environment, that's really kind of a sad story. You know, many Czech architects actually complains that they cannot afford to do both design and research, something which is a bit more common, like behind our western borders.
Or bigger companies.
Still not possible. I mean, mostly from financial reasons to do it here.
So this is why it's really important to take care about it and think about it during the study.
Yeah, indeed. So
and bring this information to studios, and then you have good position and so on. So this is why we are focusing on that.
Super. I think that's it. Thank you very much for being here with me, and thank you for your attention. And see you.